It's episode lucky number 13 here at Wrestling is Fiction. As always, I am Zach Hannigan and my partner, Darkstar Shady. You know what we're bringing by now, your WWE fan fiction recaps, especially a big Money in the Bank recap on this episode. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
What's up, everyone? Before we get into today's episode, it's time to go through a few of our sponsors. First off, you can head to darkstarshady.com/wrestlingisfiction to find links to everywhere that you can listen to us. From there, you can head to our sponsors page where you'll find a few different links. First off, you'll find the official sponsor of Wrestling is Fiction, Gengar's TCG shop on TikTok. He sells Pokemon cards through his TikTok shop, and he also does live rip and ships where you can have him open cards live on a stream for his audience and mail you your pulls afterwards. I've also partnered with a company called Dubby. They make gaming energy drinks. If you go to dubby.gg and use code DARKSTAR10, you'll get 10% off your next order. I recommend the Galaxy Grenade flavor, which is watermelon, guava, and lime. I bought a few of their shaker bottles and multiple tubs of their energy drink powders, and I take a drink to work with me almost every day, and it gives me the jitterless energy I need to get through each day. Let's get to today's episode.
Welcome back, everyone. So, before we get into our recap, I got to hear this story from you, Steven. Last week on air, you asked if Dom Mysterio will ever beat his dad, and then if he does, you're going to buy a cake.
Well, it's funny you ask that because I was waiting for you to bring that up because I do, in fact, have cake with me right here.
That looks great. M&M's, chocolate.
Yeah, can't go wrong. I literally that night I was like, okay, guys, I have to go out and buy a cake. So the next day we went and grabbed a couple pizzas and stopped at the store and grabbed a cake. And Liz was like, hey, thanks for the cake. And I was like, don't thank me. Thank Dominik Mysterio.
Thank Dominik
Maybe
Mysterio
Liv Morgan too.
And Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I thought it would take longer than my one statement, but I don't know. It seems like when you and I mention something on here, it tends to happen pretty quickly afterwards.
I know. Isn't that
Dom
something?
beating Rey, Paul Ellering talk. Our podcast just manifests these things for us.
Yeah. Well, it's true. We've talked about ideas via text and phone calls, and then suddenly they happen on WWE, which, you know, they should just offer us our contracts to start writing for them.
You know, I've been checking my email every day waiting to see, hey, we've got an offer for you. We just need you for like a month or two, get through a PLE with you. And, I'll take it.
Yeah. Are they putting an S on the end of Starnes? Might be it. Might be the problem.
Yeah. I'll have to workshop my email and maybe I'll reach out to them, see what I've been missing out on.
Yeah.
I'll call Paul.
All right, so we had Money in the Bank, obviously.
Yeah.
And there was a Smackdown before it, and I don't know how much there is to talk about other really than we have new tag champs.
We do have new tag champs. I'm super excited that Johnny Gargano got a title, even if it is a tag title. But if you follow WWE for a while, that's the same place they won their NXT tag titles years ago. And both times afterwards, they've gotten their pictures with their titles with Triple H, and just a really nice callback to the same exact finish almost.
Speaking of Triple H, he does the same pose in every photo. He has his pose, and he does it. But, yeah, it was cool. It was in Toronto and in front of that crowd again. And, I don't know. You kind of felt it coming when Grayson Waller literally had to talk Austin Theory into walking out for that match, it seemed. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised that DIY took the titles. Johnny Gargano tweeted that he manifested this as well because I forget how many months ago he actually tweeted a picture of... Yeah, basically. But he tweeted out a picture of one of the older style WWE tag belts. And he was like, oh, this Winged Eagle title is my favorite belt. And then lo and behold, they redesigned the titles and he gets a very similar belt.
Honestly, the tag titles they have done are both awesome.
Yeah, no, I really like both designs. I am partial to the Smackdown belts right now just
I
because
know you are.
I liked the older style of those two as well. Like growing up watching SmackDown primarily when they brought out those first SmackDown tag titles, it really throws back to those, and that was like my first experience with them and first love of the tag titles, really.
Yeah, my first love, I think, was watching Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys beat the hell out of each other week after week and then dive off 10-foot ladders onto each other. It was great.
Yeah. See, I started a little bit after that, so I got Team Angle with those tag titles and stuff like that. Which we'll
All
see
right.
if we get a modern version.
Yeah, speaking of Team Angle, when I'm skipping to Raw, obviously, they're doing the interview backstage with Shayna, Zoe, and what's her name?
Caleb Braxton?
No, the
No.
third gal that attacked the
Oh, Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. Yes. I don't know if you saw in the background there. There's Chad Gable chatting it up with the Creed brothers.
Yeah, they've been plotting something for months now.
I know. It's like,
I'm
when are
not
we
sure
doing
when it's going to pay off. I'm not sure if the Creed brothers are afraid of the Wyatt Six coming after them.
it would have been the perfect opportunity that after Chad Gable was shot in the head for him to come back with a bald head and recreate Team Angle.
Honestly, I've been waiting for that for so long now, and I'm not sure when the right time for them to pull that trigger is.
And I'm not sure the Wyatt Six are after him. It's always when Jey Uso's around too. And there
Yeah,
is
and
that mention of you left your family and all this, so it's kind of ambiguous.
yeah, I think we're getting closer and closer to finding something out where Adam Pierce walked into his office and Bo Dallas was sitting in it.
God, I mean,
Who,
just for a second, you looked at the side profile and you're like, is that fucking Bray Wyatt?
yeah,
I mean,
like I know they're brothers, but like
yeah,
Bo Dallas is looking more and more like Bray every single day.
I know. He's
And from that
descending.
side, yeah, you're right. I was like, how did he get what? What
Did
AI
they
is
lie
this?
to us? Is this the greatest story they've ever told where they convinced everybody someone died?
Yeah, I'm just really curious to see where that story goes and if Chad Gable's actually going to be a part of it or not. If not, they
He
really need
said
to have
he
him do
said he's
something.
gonna told Pierce he's gonna take care of the problem. I don't know what his plan is. Maybe the Creed brothers are involved in that. And now we're gonna have two more murders.
Yeah, I'm just impressed they got Chad Gable to recover from a shot to the head that quickly.
Yeah. All right, back
Um,
to our programming. Tag team champions, and in fact, that's back-to-back weeks with new tag champs.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, both shows pulled the trigger together almost. And like I said, I'm really happy for DIY. As much as I want to see Johnny Gargano be a champion and have a title, I don't know how long they'll last just because I don't know how exciting it is to have them as a team rather than having a little more friction between Johnny and Tommaso.
I think their story was more in chasing the titles. That's kind of the DIY concept. Always the underdogs, but the tag titles in WWE after the Usos really seem to change hands more frequently than any other title. I mean, I guess KO and Sammy had it for a while, but
Yeah, I the problem is there's so many tag teams on both shows, but none of
exactly.
them are good enough to be champions most of the time. They don't give anyone a solid push. They don't give anyone a good feud. So the titles just feel irrelevant most of the time.
Yeah, that's true. And like the one that's in the Judgment Day, it being a faction, it just feels kind of
For now.
random. That yeah,
It's a faction for now.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Uh,
do we want to talk anything else on SmackDown? I mean, there was the
uh,
face to face with all the Money in the Bank cats.
yeah, I don't think that was too important other than
Uh,
the fact that it's set up for the next night and they were there.
Yeah.
We got a random Street Profits and Pretty Deadly match, which, okay.
Went how we expected. I think the
Yeah,
Cargill and Belair match went how we expected.
and now that they have Cody mixing it up with the Bloodline, Street Profits get pushed down the card again to fight whoever's there.
Yeah, I know.
Candice LeRae taking another loss with Indy Hartwell.
I guess there was the Bailey match.
Yeah, Bailey and Piper Niven ran it back.
Non-title
And
match, right?
yeah, non-title, and it just ended up in a kind of another Money in the Bank
Why?
brawl.
Why does Chelsea Green dress up on the side? It's like, I guess it's to throw us off that there's not going to be an interference, but it's like she's in these like nice dresses and heels out there, and I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Just because she can, I think.
Yeah, I think she's just extra. It's her character.
I love her.
Yeah, I do too.
And then we got the ending before Money in the Bank with the really bad Solo Sikoa promo towards Cody.
What did I text you?
I think you just called him stupid, basically. Not in those words, but you heard it. Solo Sikoa is so corny. And he came out talking about how he has to restore the bloodline and Roman let him down, and Solo
Roman
hasn't
wasn't
won a match.
good enough to hold the title.
And Solo hasn't won a match in how long?
I know.
Okay, Solo. I just don't get how someone can have honestly one of the better entrance songs in WWE right now and just be so garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I almost forget that it's his music for a minute because it actually sounds pretty good, and then you see Solo walk out in his like not quite fitted suits and his gloves, and you're just like, okay, just turn around and go back.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they do this suit thing that the Bloodline has never done when Roman was around. I guess they're trying to change it up, but like that's just not Bloodline. Um, that was the Pride for all the 6 weeks they lasted.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just not sold on Solo.
No, I can't stand him. I'm going to be honest. Like, he is my least favorite person in that faction right now. I even
Yeah.
like Tongaloa better because Tongaloa just stands on the side.
Yeah.
And apparently doesn't know how to low blow. Literally hit Kevin Owens in the gooch.
This is jumping ahead to Money in the Bank, but I started laughing so hard reading a tweet and a video of that because it was a different angle. Where earlier in the match, a little bit before that, Tongaloa had hit his head on the announce table pretty hard.
I saw that, yeah.
And when he goes to do the second low blow, he reached so far through, he punched Tama Tonga in the head.
I know.
And the tweet was just like, if I'm concussed, you're concussed too.
Dude, fucked it up twice.
But just reading the if I'm concussed, you're getting one too.
He did hit the shit out of his head on that announce table.
Yeah, I thought he wasn't going to get back up for a second.
No, I was like, that man is he's seeing stars. Leave him there.
Yeah, that's definitely jumping ahead to Money in the Bank, which I'm just about ready to get there. I just want to mention one thing, and that's, are we keeping Jade and Bianca a tag team longer?
Seems that way.
I don't really want to see them go back for the titles, just because I feel like
I don't think they are.
Just because I feel like they'd get them if they had that match.
I don't think they wanted to break them up right away, but
yeah.
Like, I don't see them together for too much longer.
With how many groups are either breaking up or on the verge of breaking up, I can't see them splitting them just because of that, but I don't want to see them get the titles back.
Well, I'm wondering how much they really want Jade on her own, because she's still kind of protected even in their matches. I mean, it's Bianca doing most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah. Jade seems to still struggle with a few things here and there. She's definitely improving and improving quickly, but I don't know that she's ready for a
tough,
split in a feud.
when you're champions, you're going to get every other wrestler's best. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you got to be ready for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, like SmackDown was basically just a big setup for 2 Money in the Bank brawls and Solo existing.
Okay. We'll
So
get to the
then
main event.
so then that takes us to Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I text you this, and you tend to agree. I thought the men's match was too short. Um, it 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 kind of felt too. I know there's a script, but it really felt too scripted. Like it's kind of you knew Drew was going to win the whole time, and there were too
Yeah.
many moments in that match where it looked like somebody had never climbed a ladder or pushed a carabiner in and like grabbed
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah, which the last like year or two, it seems like on these big events where you have a big men's match and a big women's match that are the exact same gimmick, the women put on a better show.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because they feel like they have to, but Io Sky killed Zoe Stark.
Yeah.
Although Andrade did the same thing,
Yeah, no,
he just
his
didn't hit it as clean.
his like sunset power bomb was
And
deadly.
then you have LA Knight like doing a BFT onto a ladder, but I think he hurt himself worse because the ladder was
Yeah.
like side up. I was like, why
Yeah,
didn't
just
you move
smacked
that?
himself right into it.
Yeah.
Um and then yeah, Drew McIntyre won, but poor Jey Uso was almost there and just took a ladder to the face.
Yeah.
Like, who in the script was like, we're going to have you stand on the top of the ladder and we're just going to throw another one at you?
Well, it's the most Drew McIntyre thing I've ever seen. Just pick up a fucking ladder and throw it at
Yeah. And
somebody.
the camera angle on that, where it was just perfectly cut to just Jay, and then it just pulls out just enough for a ladder to be seen throwing at him. It's just like, why? That's so rude.
Yeah, I can't remember if any one of us predicted Drew, but I'm not surprised he won.
No,
Um,
I think we both had
Probably Jay.
Jay. We both had Jay winning that one, which,
He was right there.
yeah, I have such conflicting opinions about this because, on the one hand, the world title pictures are so set right now that I don't know that a briefcase would really interfere with them. So having Jay win or having Chad win doesn't make complete sense, but at the same time, they have until past next WrestleMania to use their briefcase.
Yeah.
And it feels like kind of a waste to have had CM Punk interfere
Well, there's
later
also a
instead of in this
world
match.
where Jay goes over and tries to take it from Cody. I mean,
Yeah.
that bloodline feud there where Solo does win it. There's a world where they could have made it work. I just have this feeling Triple H didn't want to deal with it again this year. And he
Yeah,
was
so
just like,
they
fuck it, Drew, use it.
yeah, so Drew got the briefcase and his feud with CM Punk is so
They didn't
set
need
already. They didn't need this.
they didn't need it, but I think it's really set. Again, how is CM Punk the good guy at this point? Like,
I He has to be nominated for like player hater of the year
yeah,
for not only screwing CM or screwing Drew McIntyre over again, but letting him get far enough to take the briefcase first and think he has a shot before he takes it
and
away from him.
then screwing over Seth Rollins, and speaking of like botch fest in that match,
Yeah.
which is odd for a Seth match. I don't think it was any of the wrestlers' fault. It was production, it seemed,
Yeah, there's a
and
report
they like
going out
put it on the
saying
ref, like it was the ref's fault.
yeah, there's a thing came out today saying that it was not on the production not hitting the music early enough. It wasn't on the ref. It was on Damian Priest completely, which
Not
I feel like for one, he was slightly out of it in that moment, and the music was
there's
supposed to kind of kick him out of it. Because like if you look at the ref missing the 3 count and then like kind of like checking on him, Damian's hand like twitches afterwards, like he's kind of like waking up again.
I I think that it's a combination of everything. Yes,
Yeah,
when he didn't hear the music, he probably should have kicked out. Secondly, the ref just forgets how to count to three, something he's been doing his whole life, pulls his
yeah,
arm up after two, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
yeah. And
And
I
for a
think
second, I was
Seth,
like, maybe Damien got his shoulder up we didn't see. I don't know.
yeah, and then Seth is the only one who really sold that well, where he's like, "Ref, learn how to fucking count."
Yeah.
I, Speaking of Seth Rollins, real quick, have you? This is kind of a subject change, but did you watch the WrestleMania documentary yet?
I didn't.
I know
I
this
don't
is a
I don't want to watch it because I don't want to be lied to that The Rock is a good person and wanted Cody to win.
yeah, no, that was the best part of it was watching him just blatantly lie through the whole thing about how like I think it'd be good if we did this. I think it'd be okay if we did
Well,
this.
so what I heard is that they released it and then took it down for a while. I think they did some more editing because it made The Rock look so bad.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Because The Rock played the whole thing very you know, I like to do what the fans want. So if they're upset, I'm gonna
Oh,
even if it's
stop.
just even if it's
He,
just a small percentage of them, I want them to be happy.
he couldn't
Which
stand having to be a heel.
which I think is hilarious because he made it sound like there was just this tiny little piece of the audience that wanted Cody to have his match, and he's like, even if it's a small sector, we're gonna make them happy because I don't want anyone to be upset. It was
I'm
the entire world who wanted Cody to win and
I'm
have his match.
sorry. I know a lot of people want Roman and Rock, and I'm a big wrestling fan. I just don't see it. It's not a match I'm hugely interested in.
Yeah, because even in the build up to it, they were on the same side the entire time. There was no tension between them.
Yeah, I think the one time Cody Rhodes brought out The Rock was the only time there was tension, and then
And
immediately
even then it yeah.
they flipped to, oh, actually Cody's going to get the shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was a terrible decision, and The Rock was mad that the fans didn't want to see him do it, and then he acts like it was his idea the whole time.
Yeah, and if they wanted to build that tension for next year, they still haven't even tried to because they let Roman take the back seat to The Rock and seem okay doing it.
Yeah,
But no, the reason I brought up the thing is because Seth was horribly hurt for WrestleMania.
yeah,
Yeah, he tore his MCL and he basically had no knee as he went
yeah.
out there
That
and just
doesn't
wrestled.
surprise me.
Yeah, like they had a couple different angles of him like running up to the ring to interfere in Cody's match, and he was literally just hobbling, trying to even get around the barricades to get up there.
They he didn't
And
want to
like,
miss WrestleMania, which
no, and how did he come back so quickly after that too?
I dude, his rehab is insane. He's come back quickly from I feel like every serious injury he's had.
Yeah, but man, I
He
watched that
wants to
just
really
the
be
other day.
back, and I hate to say it, but you can't say that about every wrestler these days.
Yeah, no, he
Like
wants to
it
be there. He's
feels like he truly loves what he does.
yeah. I was just even more impressed after having watched the parts about him in that because I don't know if everyone knows. You probably do, but I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan. But he does put it all out there. And no, like the documentary overall was definitely just garbage, just making The Rock look good. But some of those behind the scene moments like that were worth watching it for. It's only about an hour
Yeah.
long.
So, Money in the Bank. I think the big news out of it really is we are going to get a John Cena farewell tour.
Yeah, and it sounds like he'll be around for just about all of 2025.
Sounds like he might get a title run.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him that record-breaking 17th title.
They should. They call him the greatest of all time. I mean,
I'm really hoping that as part of his retirement tour, either whichever show he's on comes to Salt Lake City again.
yeah, I'm really hoping that too. It sounds like he might just come to both.
Yeah, no,
Um,
he wants to work like I think 40 or 50 dates in
yeah,
2025, which would be most of the year on one show or a good amount of it on
a lot
both.
of the PLEs. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I almost like had to take a backseat. I was like, what? what did you say to us?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a tweet that was like, yeah, I'm trying to watch Money in the Bank, and they have some AI John Cena out here saying he's retiring. What is this?
Even my wife, who doesn't care for wrestling too much, was walking by. She's like, "Oh, John Cena," and then she's like, "Wait, is he retiring?" It's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, I guess so." News to
yeah,
me
no.
too.
And then he made it sound like he was going to be done by WrestleMania. Then the press conference afterwards, he's like, "No, all year, all
Whole year,
2025."
yeah, yeah.
So that'll be really cool, even if he doesn't come to one of our cities, just to see him on TV again every week for a
That'll be
while.
cool. He mentioned Royal Rumble. He mentioned WrestleMania, so just to have him at those things will be
So,
cool.
so we're definitely getting Randy and John Cena again, right?
I hope so.
And
We need heel Randy again
yeah, and
because going back to it, as you said, the streak continues. He has not won a PLE match since he's been back.
yeah, it's what 9 months now of no wins on PLEs.
Yeah. In fact, he's not
Um,
winning a ton at all.
no,
Not
he's taken a lot of losses. Um, then we also may get John Cena and CM Punk again.
Yeah. CM Punk decides he's ever healthy enough to wrestle.
He
And
hasn't
if
been wearing
Drew,
his brace or anything,
and if
so
Drew doesn't kill him,
is he cleared?
I don't know.
Because he's showing up not in his brace. He's beating the shit out of Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He had that crazed look as he was choking him with an electrical cord.
I think he's probably close. He wouldn't say at the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, I I did like his shot at AAW as well, where he was kind of like, "Oh, look, we have fans on that side of the camera. Maybe we'll fight over there too."
Um, how about Michael Cole dropping his government name? Just called him Phil casually.
Yeah, yeah. And then CM Punk calls him out. He's like, "Why'd you use my government name?"
Yeah. And then he
And then
called him Phil again.
yeah, it's like, are you trying to have him choke you out next?
I I think Cole is strictly in this business now to just mess around.
Yeah,
Similar to when what did Pat McAfee say? Braun Breaker's a brick shit house and Cole lost it.
Pat McAfee, man. He,
He's like, that's the only way to describe him. I don't know.
he's gonna be so much worse once they're on Netflix
Oh,
too.
I know. It's gonna be great.
Like they had to have signed him specifically knowing he's just gonna be like off the rails once they're not censored as much.
Okay, I want to ask you this because you're a big Braun Breaker guy. How do you feel about the decision for Sami Zayn to beat him cleanly?
I think I'm okay with it. I've been thinking about this one a lot. I think I'm okay with it because Braun still is new to the roster. I didn't picture him winning it all, and it's not like Sammy's finishing move is like one of the weaker ones in WWE. That's pretty much his move to put it almost put Roman Reigns away. So like
Yeah.
having Braun Breaker kick out of his haluva kick would have been a little much for me, I think. Um I definitely can see them continuing their story together long enough for Braun to be the one to take his title down the road.
I mean, do you see it at SummerSlam? It
If they
feels
go
like
one on if
Red.
they go one on one again, I could see Braun winning it. Unless they want to have like Sheamus or Ilya interfere to draw it out for a third round.
Yeah, I thought it would have been cool if Braun won, but I think the fan liked Sammy until he was a champion. They liked him in that underdog role, and I kind of liked what he said on Raw. He's becoming more and more of a believable champion. Like at the end of the day, he's good in the ring. He's pretty good on the mic. I mean, there's not one thing he's weak at, and to be honest with you, is Braun Breaker the strongest intercontinental champion you can put up right now? When there are several others on Raw right now that have an argument for a mid card title.
I think once Braun Breaker gets that title, he's gonna hold it for quite a long time.
Yeah, I do too.
Um, that's why I don't mind them waiting a little bit longer to put it on him. Like Sammy ended a record-breaking Intercontinental Championship run. He's always willing to fight. I don't mind him having that title a little longer.
No, I don't at all either.
And even Braun said, good for you for being like the only person back there that's beaten me.
Yeah,
Before
it
he
was a
speared him out of
great
his shoes.
match. It was a great match. I thought it was one of the better ones on the PLE.
Yeah.
I guess we talked about the women's a bit. Tiffy time. Did we both pick Tiffany Stratton? I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
almost a more obvious win.
Yeah. She's been my pick for Money in the Bank since they called her up. And
It's gonna be fun with Nia and her teaming up. We got Queen of the Ring and Money in the Bank, and they're probably gonna meet at SummerSlam.
yeah,
Does
just wait
Tiffany
for
cash it in then?
Nia Jax to win the title and Tiffy
Yeah,
cash in on her and be like, I'm so sorry. But
you're the new Drew McIntyre.
yeah, like, because I think Nia deserves the win,
I do too.
but I think a cash in is the most believable way for her to also lose that title.
Yeah, I don't want Bailey to lose.
I don't either,
I don't, but she's coming up on it.
especially after she was just hanging out with George Kittle.
Yeah.
Like, how do you root against her?
Uh, well,
But
and
Chelsea,
they're
yeah,
not making her look like a strong champ.
no, I
Just kind of like airheaded back there, like, yeah, everything's fine. Thanks, Naomi. Even though
yeah,
you said you'd take my title.
I don't understand how she went from like the mastermind of Damage Control that got them all their titles to this.
It's like she went face and forgot how to politic back there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But Chelsea Green was one of the other stars of that match,
The
and
bump she took, man.
yeah, and then all the like backstage reports are just that like she was fine. She treated it like it was nothing, just everyday normal
Did
spot.
you see the picture they got of her mid-air above the
Yeah,
table? It's an awesome photo.
yeah, just from the side.
Yeah.
One day, I just want to be able to photograph a WWE show like
Yeah.
from a good spot. Like, if I have to sneak a camera in under like a vest and I pay an extraordinary amount of money for front row, just let me take a camera in.
Will they not let you bring a camera in?
I've take I've taken like smaller cameras in. I don't know that they'd allow me to take in a big camera just because of the. Usually, it's not even the like companies like WWE. Usually, it's like the arenas don't want you to bring
Yeah.
in photography stuff. But
Yeah.
like, please, if you're listening to this, anyone from WWE, throw me a photo pass for one of your shows. I don't even care if I have access to flash or anything. Just let me go photograph a couple moments because that was such a cool picture.
Yeah. I know we're on a happy moment, Steven, but I'm going to move to the main event and fuck that decision. I don't
Okay,
care that the Bloodline won. I knew they were going to win. There is no fucking reason the WWE champion gets pinned.
this is my fault, isn't it?
No,
Because
no,
I said last week.
it's always been that way that the
It
champion
is.
is protected in tag matches.
Yeah, and then I said last week, what if they have Cody eat the pin?
Yeah,
Just
and
to
they
and
did.
someone is listening to us, and the last second they were like, "No, Randy's not taking this pin. Cody is."
Yeah. Like, I get not letting KO do it. He's Canadian. He had that family story. And I don't want Cody to do it. And Randy's lost every freaking match he's had in PLE. So what's another time to get pinned?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Someone's calling me, and I'm just gonna hang up on them. There we go. Problem with a MacBook is my phone just rang, and it popped the phone call up over our call and like messed up
It's
the audio
very
for me for a
distracting.
second. Yeah, I usually have my phone on Do Not Disturb, but for some reason, someone from work was like, I need to call you right now on your day off for the third time today. And I'm just,
No, you don't. No,
No,
you
you
don't.
don't. But yeah, no,
And also,
I'm sorry I brought this
Solo
upon you. What was that?
Solo is not good. One on
No,
one,
he's not.
there's no chance he beats Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was... It took 4 people, a couple botched low blows, and For some reason, Solo's
And
the one who got the
I
pin.
also didn't love the Jacob Fatu just popping up from Randy's DDT. That move's been
Yeah.
protected his like whole career in WWE. Like the other day, I was watching. It was an old Bad Blood episode, and it was Kane and Randy Orton, and he did it to Kane, and Kane stayed down. Now, Kane back in the day, even the Undertaker couldn't put down. So, like, the move's been
Yeah.
protected for so long, and I was like, what? Jacob Fatu is the one?
Yeah, someone really wants this new bloodline to seem so fierce and dominant, and
I think that's why it's less believable. They're just, like,
yeah.
trying to push it so hard.
Yeah, they're trying to push it so hard, and Tongaloa can't wrestle, apparently. The other ones aren't allowed to speak very much. They're having Jacob Fatu just kind of yell like a few words at a time, even though he's actually pretty good on the mic. And his speaking voice sounds nothing like what he's speaking like in WWE.
Yeah, I know.
They're trying to make him seem like, I don't know,
He's
just
at
like a crazed individual from the woods
yeah.
rather than a person.
Yeah. I don't love it. Anyway, that was Money in the Bank.
But
I
yeah,
kind of knew
my
Bloodline
bad.
would win.
Yeah, my bad for saying Cody's gonna eat the pin because apparently they decided that I was right.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
and then
And then
that takes us
moving
to Raw.
on. Great promo to open the show. Seth and CM Punk together on the mics, I could watch all day. They're both just so good at it.
Yeah, and
My favorite was Seth going, "Oh, now you don't want to interfere in other people's business."
yeah,
CM Punk is over there talking to Pat McAfee.
yeah. Then CM Punk being like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, but I guess since it's you, I don't need to be."
Also, also too, what the fuck is CM Punk talking about? Consequences have actions. Bitch, you started it.
Yeah, he, you are quite literally flying
Yeah,
around the world to ruin another
yeah.
man's life.
You are the one perpetuating it. And then
And
he
then,
goes through this whole, I didn't do anything. And then I love Seth throwing it back to him. Consequences have actions.
yeah, it's just
And apparently Seth
what
is
a
getting
guy.
another shot.
Yeah, Damian Priest is like, I don't care what we agreed on. I
Well,
don't know that I see Damian beating Gunther to get to that point.
no, I don't either, but I don't think that Seth technically lost to Damian Priest. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
What a
don't know that
storyline.
Seth and Gunther is, their styles are just so different. I don't know about that match.
Yeah, So are we assuming that Gunther's taking the title at SummerSlam then?
Well, I thought he was, but now I'm wondering more and more if they're going to extend this Judgment Day thing and just have Damian keep it, so it's more of a loss if he steps away from the Judgment Day or if the Judgment Day breaks away from him. And now that Rhea Ripley's back, which is sooner than I think we all thought, she's going to get to the bottom of whatever Finn and Liv have brewing, and JD McDonough, and they're tag champs, so they have a little more skin in the game. And then Carlito apparently just stares at people's boners.
Yeah.
I loved Carlito in that. I don't know, it looks pretty hard.
The picture of all four of them just like peeking their heads
I
around the
know,
corner
it was
cartoon
so good.
style. I That whole sequence with Liv was just golden.
Damian Priest, it's not that hard. I don't know, man. It looks pretty hard.
Dominik just like, no, get off me.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good actually. That's
Yeah.
okay. And just we can do this before every match. Even if you
Yeah.
don't have a match, we can do this.
And then before that, before in the locker room, fine, there better be some tendies or some nuggies in there. I love how good Judgment Day is good at being a heel faction, but also funny as hell.
Yeah. Someone tweeted, they were like, I think Carlito's been watching a lot of R-Truth before he came back because he's taken on the funniest character role.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, like that. What a ridiculous sequence that whole thing was.
Oh, Raw was so
Um,
good just for that.
yeah.
But
Why
speaking
did JD? Do you know who Sketch is? The Madden
who?
streamer that's a Sketch.
Yes, I know him.
I I don't watch him, but I've seen his videos on TikTok. Why did JD have like the full Sketch, like finger up, like
JD is just he's he's funny, and I don't even think he knows it.
yeah,
um, Speaking of factions, we mentioned them earlier, and I'm so excited for this one. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville taking out Damage Control is the best thing. They're
yeah,
finally pushing them. And that faction does look scary. I mean, it is 3 really strong women in there.
yeah. And Sonya Deville coming back is great. It's been way too long since she's been on TV regularly, and I'm glad that
It's the
Shayna and Zoe
mind.
like
It's the mind behind that operation that you felt like they were always missing.
yeah, like they like Zoe and Shayna both have the look,
Yeah,
but I think Sonya brings them a lot more legitimacy.
exactly. Someone
And
who's better mic skills, more like a manager type role. Um,
yeah,
and hell,
and
I
also she's
mean,
just cool.
yeah, and Fire and Dawn, they need someone to defend those titles against. So it seems like they're getting more legitimate threats to them.
Yeah, it's nice to see them trying to build up some actual teams rather than just throwing people together like they were doing for a while.
Well,
Like
I don't know.
like Sonya and Chelsea were just a thrown together team for a while.
What else happened on Raw? Braun
We got
Strowman chased JD McDonough around the arena again.
yeah,
Um, that happened. We got a new Bray Wyatt video, which honestly, I love Bray, but Bo Dallas is so good at those promos. He's like just as good.
yeah. No, these are turning out better than I expected them to. I don't quite know what they were gonna do when they were building this up, but I like where it's going.
And then for him to appear was amazing. After
Yeah,
the night Pierce already had, just like, oh fuck, great, Bo Dallas is in my office.
yeah. Um,
I
we had
can't
a
wait to
really
see Dexter Loomis's creepy ass.
oh yeah, same. I'm really excited for him to actually show up again and do
Yeah.
something, not just be in these promos. We had a really random match of Bronson Reed and Pete Dunne.
And then furthering that Pete Dunne doesn't like Sheamus' story. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why does
Apparently Tyler Bate is injured pretty
okay?
bad.
Oh really?
Um, yeah. They mentioned it on air that he got hurt during a NXT match.
Oh
I don't know how true this part is, but afterwards online I read that he like tore his pec off the muscle or something like that, like off the bone, and just will be out for months.
yeah, that's not a great
So I
injury.
guess so I guess Pete isn't gonna be getting any tag titles anytime soon. But once
Yeah.
again, they use Bronson Reed to
Why
just
does
be there.
Bronson Reed fight tiny people?
Who else is there for him to fight other than
I had fun when he fought Otis.
yeah,
Couple
yeah?
of
I
big
just
boys in there.
same thing though. Like they just Bronson Reed needs an
Why
actual
did he
story.
fight Braun Strowman? There's a
Yeah,
story: monster versus monster.
he needs a story. Braun Strowman needs a story right now.
Other than running around the arena.
Like other than just like kind of being like, hey, don't bully people. I'm gonna bully you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to pick you up and throw you.
Yeah, I
And I guess Awesome
both of them.
Truth is sticking together.
Yeah, no, I don't. After they lost the tag titles, did you see the online interview they posted with Kathy Kelly backstage, where the Miz was like getting mad, and he was like, "Why did you give this match away? Like we shouldn't have done this. We're going to SummerSlam in my hometown, and I wanted to walk in as a champion." And they gave R-Truth a serious moment where he was like, "Awesome Truth is about creating moments." And yeah, you won't get to have your moment walking in as a champion, but we'll just walk out of SummerSlam as champions. and will continue to create moments as champions after that. So they gave him this weird, serious moment where
That's the
I
best
don't
thing
know,
for his character. One serious moment
like
every
like
year.
it was like a 2-minute video where most of it was R-Truth just being super serious about how they were going to win the titles back at SummerSlam. And some people are responding saying they think it's going to turn to Miz turning on Truth as a heel, but I don't know.
I don't want to see Miz go heel again. I know he's
But
so good at it, but I don't want to see it.
yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind them winning the titles back in Cleveland. Yeah, I don't know, because the tag division, like, Judgment Day doesn't need the tag titles. They're
No, I
falling apart as
strictly
it is
think it was
anyways.
only to further Liv's story within them and
Yeah.
to make it known that if they do break up, championships are being broken up in that faction.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of the same thing that they did with Cody and Jay winning the tag titles just so that
yeah,
they could show up on SmackDown and face off with Roman for a minute.
yeah,
I mean, led to one of the best press conferences WWE's ever done,
yeah. It did. It did.
um but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost those titles sooner rather than later. Um did much else happen? We talked about
We talked about Dom winning.
yeah,
Rhea
I've
Ripley's
I've got
return
she looked amazing coming back.
always does.
Um and she usually either has a Judgment Day or like an R&D for Rhea and Dom on her cheek. She had just her own initials there, Rhea Ripley.
Apparently,
Um,
Dom's with Liv now.
yeah. Um, I read online again that they have Rhea listed internally as a babyface now,
I mean, I
and
could see it.
she's the only one in Judgment Day listed that way. But Damian Priest is headed that way as well.
Yeah. Well, I think
But
as much as they're trying to make Finn a heel, he has a lot of the audience too. I don't know that
yeah,
any of them are going to come out of this thing as super heels.
yeah. No, Rhea being back was a little unexpected. They were obviously hinting at it through the night, but
I didn't
I didn't see
expect
her
that.
coming
Though.
back
When he
already.
was like, "We'll see," I thought it would be like, a FaceTime from Rhea or something. But for her
Yeah,
to actually come back,
yeah. I wouldn't
because
have
all
been
the
surprised if
rumors we heard were like she's out for way longer than that.
yeah. One of my favorite tweets again I saw was Dominik has to go home to his wife and explain to her how his mommy caught him with his side chick.
Oh man,
And if Rhea hadn't interrupted, that was Dom's moment to fold.
he was gonna fold.
Yeah.
He was literally about to.
I don't I don't know how he was keeping his arm just like over her and not touching her at all. Like the restraint that kid is showing even after the
Selling the
chicken nuggets.
character, man. Hey, he's been in custody battles before.
Yeah, we're building up to one now. And Liv Morgan took
Yeah.
her chance to run for her life, but then they showed a video of her backstage where she was just like peeking through the curtain
Peaking.
laughing at
Yeah.
Dom.
Well, here's the thing. Now that Rhea's back, Liv has a legitimate threat to her title again. Not that she
Yeah.
didn't before, but it's like we bring in Rhea back and not giving her a title.
Yeah, I fully expect her to get that title back at some point. She might give up custody of Dom for it, but she'll get the title back.
Well, now you can use Rhea on your show again.
Yeah, I've had her showing up just in appearances for just hyping up Dom, but I didn't expect her to actually be in action this quickly.
There you go. Good segue into SmackDown.
Yeah, and I've got a few different things going on.
Okay.
So this will be the SmackDown for, oh man, what are we on, July 12th now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this year is flying by.
It is, man.
So, we're starting off SmackDown, and guess who but Dominik Mysterio and Rhea Ripley open up the show together. So they come down to the ring, Dominik's got his Money in the Bank briefcase, and Rhea Ripley has the mic, and she's like, I want to introduce everyone to our new Money in the Bank winner, Dirty Dominik Mysterio. And with me by his side, he will become a world champion in this company. I guarantee that. And Dom starts to pick up the microphone. He gets his usual boos. And he's like, I know none of you thought I could do this, but I'm here to prove to everyone that I am the future of this company. And with mommy by my side, I will rule over the men's division with my title I will be picking. And while he's doing that, Finn Balor's music hits. And he walks out for the first time with his World Heavyweight Championship, and he's got JD next to him. And he walks all the way out to the ring, gets in the ring, and he's like, Dom, I know Judgment Day isn't together anymore. We didn't part on the best of terms, but I don't have anything against you. I want you to remember there is a whole nother brand and a whole nother champion you can cash that in on. You don't have to come after me. Like, I don't have any bad blood there. What happened between me and Damien, you tried to stay out of it as much as you could. So let's just be friends. And when that, before Dom can even respond, Randy Orton's music hits. And he comes out with his King of the Ring crown in his hands. He's just cradling it like he's been doing. He's not, looks at it a little bit. He doesn't ever put it on, though. And he stays on the entrance ramp, and he's like, I think you guys are forgetting that I still have to call my shot. And Finn, I don't think you have to worry about him coming after you, because at SummerSlam, I'm picking you for my title match.
Oh,
so I
boy.
don't even think you'll have this title long enough for Dom to come after it. And Dom has a split second where he kind of looks at Rhea, and he like kind of like jiggles the briefcase, like, should I just cash in now? And she just shakes her head. She's like, no. No. And we cut to commercial break.
I know that Dom would be the biggest bitch about winning Money in the Bank, and I kind of love it.
Yeah.
It would piss fans off more than anything.
Yeah. I've got to come up with a design in my mind for how that briefcase would look for him.
What about
other than just
my
like
cow vest? My purple cow vest.
Liv. What a monster. So then we come back from break, and we've got a match that's a few weeks in the works. And Kairi Sane comes out for her Women's National Championship match against Zoe Stark. And it's a pretty quick match, honestly. Kairi Sane comes out, and she's kind of underestimating Zoe. She's like thinking in her head, like, this is a mid-card title. I'm above this. I don't really have to put too much in. And Zoe just beats her down. There's a few moments where Kairi starts to kind of rally back and get a little momentum, and every time she does, Zoe just kind of overpowers her a little bit. And it ends with a Z360 and a 3 count. And Zoe keeps her title. Kairi's just kind of defeated in the ring. Damage Control didn't even come out with her. And backstage, Dakota Kai is just kind of head in her hands, just kind of like, maybe this is a little harder to do than Bayley made it look. And then that takes us into a tag team match that's also been building up about as long as we've had our podcast. And that's Rey and Andrade versus Dijak and Carlito. There's been a lot of tension there for a very long time now. And match starts off with kind of a throwback, Rey and Carlito in the ring together. And they're going back and forth. Carlito's got the size advantage, obviously. And he's kind of throwing Rey around a little bit. Up until he throws him a little too hard, Rey kind of just rolls backwards to Andrade and tags him in. And Carlito kind of looks at him for a second and just immediately turns around and tags Dijak in. And Dijak kind of looks back at Carlito and he's like, no, this is for you. Tags him back in, throws Carlito in the ring. And Carlito gets pushed forward to Andrade right into a big boot.
Oof.
And Andrade kind of just starts going back and forth with Carlito a little bit. Before Carlito does get a good tag in, and Dijak's like, okay, it's about time for this. And Dijak and Andrade kind of just stare each other down in the ring. And they start going back and forth. And at one point, Carlito gets off the side and goes around, and he knocks Rey Mysterio down, distracting Andrade enough for Dijak to hit him from behind, flip him around, do a choke slam, and get a pinfall. And Dijak and Carlito win that one.
The heels, man.
Yeah. They're not going down too easy here.
No.
This takes us into a promo with Liv Morgan coming out with her title. And she's standing in the middle of the ring, and she's got her championship, and she kind of just looks at the crowd, and she's like, you know what? I should have known I was better than everyone here, because no one from my brand was even good enough to win Money in the Bank to come after me. No one's earned a shot at me. No one's even anywhere near my level. And that's when Blair Davenport comes out of the crowd and attacks her. Um, and while that's happening, Dakota Kai comes running down the stage, both women that were in the Money in the Bank match. And Dakota Kai just gets in there and starts fighting as well. And the three of them are all just brawling. Um, Rhea Ripley's music hits, and she starts to walk down the entrance ramp. And that's when Nick Aldis comes running out, and he holds her back, and he's sending security and refs out to the ring to break everyone up. And he's like, okay, between the tag team women just being out of control, all the singles women not being able to figure out how to run a show, and that I pick these number one contenders, I'm getting a little sick of everyone just doing what they want. So next week, we're going to have a little bit of consequences, and I'm bringing in some reinforcements to help me whip everyone into shape. And he kind of just leaves it at that, and it cuts to break with everyone getting escorted out of the ring with about 3 officials between each of them. Then that brings us into a singles match of Grayson Waller and Wes Lee. Austin Theory actually comes out, and he gets on commentary, and he's just kind of making fun of Grayson a little bit. And he's like, yeah, no, he's outclassed. He's not as good as he thinks. And he puts on a good show, but Wes Lee actually does get the win in this match. And as Wes Lee gets the 3 count, Austin Theory gets up and just starts clapping and walks away. And
Wesley, your former United States champion.
Indeed. He held that title for a few weeks, and Austin Theory, he's got some issues with Wes Lee, but he's like, you know what, Grayson's the bigger issue right now. And he just wanted to go out there and watch him lose.
He did call him a bitch on national TV.
He did. And then that cuts to a promo, and it's Jey Uso coming out. And as he did in the actual Money in the Bank, he took a loss again. And he comes out, and he's like, he's a little more somber, and he's like, you know, I thought I was main event Jey Uso, and it's kind of getting beat out of me. I don't think I have what it takes anymore. I'm starting to feel like I'm letting you guys down. And of all people, Logan Paul's music hits. And Logan Paul comes out to the ring with his U.S. title, and he's like, you know, Jay, I've watched you lose a lot. I want to watch you lose one more time. SummerSlam's in my hometown. How about you and I put on a little main event for him, and you come after my title for that match? I don't think you're too much of a threat, so I don't mind giving you another little moment in the spotlight, because I don't think you're going to get any more of them.
That's the most Logan Paul thing I've ever heard said.
Yeah. And before Jey Uso can respond, Ludwig Kaiser attacks him. He comes running down the ramp, and he attacks him. And it gets a little messy, because as Ludwig's getting out there, Giovanni Vinci comes out of the crowd and attacks Ludwig. And that's when Gunther's music hits. And he comes to the entrance ramp, and Logan's just confused as all hell at this point. He's like, no one's even attacking me. I'm just standing in the corner here. And Gunther he literally just comes out and just says, stop. And everyone kind of just looks up at him. And he's like, I thought we were done with this problem, Giovanni Vinci. I thought we had put you away. I thought you were out of this group. Next week, you're going with me in the ring. And he just walks away, and everyone just kind of looks around like, what happened? And Jay is kind of just on the ground like, do I still get my match? So then it goes into the second to last match of the night. DIY versus Chase U for the titles. This week, though, Tommaso Ciampa's the one who couldn't make the show. His flight was delayed. So Dexter Lumis comes walking out with Johnny Gargano holding the other tag title. And it goes about how you expect. Andre Chase puts on a decent showing where he's a little more technical, but you can tell he can't quite run with the other two. Johnny Gargano's a little too fast for him. He does tag out to Duke Hudson, and Duke kind of stops Johnny in his tracks, starts pushing him around a little bit before he can tag in Dexter Lumis. And Dexter Lumis just gets in the ring, unblinking, slowly walks up to Duke Hudson, and just punches him in the face. And Duke Hudson's kind of just stunned, and he's like, what just happened? And Dexter Lumis then starts brawling with him. And Duke gets kind of beaten to the corner, and he starts to tag Andre Chase, who's like, I don't know if I want to get in this ring right now. And he does get beat down and take the 3 count from Dexter Lumis. And we have our tag team champion still retaining. And
And
Johnny Gargano kind of looks at Dexter and he's like, okay. Okay, I guess this is fine.
apparently, we still have a very angry Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I don't think that's changing. Before our main event, there's a little backstage promo. And Kathy Kelly's back there and she's like, hey, Logan, before you leave, what made you give a match to someone? Like, what made you go out there and say you'll put your title on the line against Jey Uso? And he looks at Kathy and he's like, Kathy, I went one-on-one with Roman Reigns. I nearly took him to the limit and took his title. Jey Uso's nowhere near his level, so it's not a problem for me to have an easy match to show off in front of my hometown crowd. And then he just walks away, and Kathy's like, all right then.
Another thing
And
he would say.
that leads us into our main event, which was set up a little earlier in the night. And the crowd's a little surprised by it, and you get Dominik Mysterio versus Randy Orton. Mr. Money in the Bank versus the King of the Ring. Both of them were out there earlier, and Dom didn't quite know this was going to happen either. Randy just went backstage and was like, hey, Nick, set this up for me. We're going to settle something. And Dom goes out there with Rhea. She's holding his briefcase out on the sidelines, and it's not a pretty match. Dominik starts off trying to take an early advantage. He can't quite get that, though. Randy Orton just won't stay down. At one point, Dom goes for his 3 amigos, and when he hits the second one, he starts to lift up Randy, and Randy just kind of stops him and just starts like punching him in the side. And he pushes him away, hits an RKO, and gets a 3 count of Dom right in the middle of the ring. Rhea's kind of looking on, a little bit sad, but also she's kind of like, he still has a briefcase, it's fine. We'll be fine, we'll recover. She gets in the ring and helps him up, and the closing shot is Randy Orton standing in the ring. He's been handed his crown, and Dom's just kind of running to the back like a wounded dog.
At least he has his mommy.
Yeah, she hasn't abandoned him in this timeline. And that'll take us into your July 15th Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, closer and closer to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
All right, well, the show opens with a Drew McIntyre promo, and he's talking about the match he had last week with Seth that ended in a count out for both of them. So there was no one won, and he's talking, if the ref wasn't so stupid and counted so fast, and if I had gotten the matches I wanted previously, I would have never had to face Seth. This is Adam Pearce's fault. He's trying to screw me out of my world championship shot. And that's when Seth interrupts. And Seth is like, I don't know why you're so sure you would have beat me. I had you. It just happened that we lost control. We got out of the ring and got counted out. And this is when Drew is like, you know what? I'm tired of talking to you. And starts trying to fight Seth. And they're going back and forth. And immediately a bunch of refs jump in. And Pierce comes out and just says, enough. If you guys want to do this and you couldn't settle it in the ring, how about you settle it somewhere else? You two, Falls Count Anywhere match tonight. So that set up the main event.
That's a match type we don't see enough of.
Yeah, I know. And this leads into not a random match. A few people have kind of been going back and forth for a shot at the Intercontinental title, and AJ Styles, who beat Sami Zayn last week, is going against Santos Escobar. And it's a back and forth match, like you say, 2 high flyers, kind of a luchador versus AJ Styles, who's kind of paved his own way. And per usual, LDF tries to interfere to help Santos Escobar, and they're distracting the ref, and Santos hits a low blow on AJ Styles. But something weird happens. Sami Zayn comes out of the crowd to help and starts kind of beating the hell out of LDF on the side. And the ref is looking at this like, what's happening? Losing control. and Santos loses focus, and he goes out there to try to stop Sammy, but it gives time for AJ to recover, and he gets on the ropes and hits a phenomenal forearm on Santos outside the ring, and he throws him back in the ring, hits a Styles Clash, and wins it. And after the match, Sammy and AJ kind of have a stare down with each other. Like AJ is not really sure if Sammy was there to help him or just wanted another shot at him. But yeah, it cuts the break with them staring each other down, middle of the ring.
It's a fun story. I like how it's all kind of converging, coming together with some of these people.
And then we got our working champ, Zoe Stark. She's going to have a match against Chelsea Green for the women's national title. Chelsea, as she does, went into Pierce's office before the show, begged him for a title shot, and just to get her out of there, he was just like, yes, fine, leave me alone. And
Yeah.
right away, Piper Nivens steps up on the mat and distracts the ref. And Chelsea goes for this kick, but Zoe kind of just moves out of the way, and Chelsea misses. And she picks her up, it hits a Z360, and the ref turns around and she gets that quick 3 count.
I'm not surprised, but I would like to see Chelsea win something in this universe.
She will. This was just a bad idea by her.
Yeah, a lot of her ideas are bad ideas, honestly. I think the only good idea she had was bullying Piper Niven into being a tag team champion with her.
Yeah, she really did. All right, and this goes to commercial break, and we come back, and KO, Sheamus, and Ilya Dragunov are in the ring, and they're kind of talking about how they've been working together, and they sort of make it official to the WWE universe and the Wrestling is Fiction universe that, like, yeah, we're officially going to work together. We're a faction. So, we have each other's backs. We've obviously been going at it with the bloodline, but if they mess with one of us, they're going to have to mess with all of us. We have the same rules as them. We're like a family. And so that cuts, and they're officially introduced as the International Fight Club, or IFC, is what they're going to go by.
Nice, I like it. Just 3 angry dudes.
Yeah, who like to fight. It's good. And then, speaking of Jade and Bianca, we get a match with them versus Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. And it's kind of what you expect. It's a pretty quick match. But something weird happens where Jade hits her finisher kind of close to the corner of the ring, and she's getting ready to go for a cover, and Bianca just tags her back and tags herself in and hits her KOD and gets the cover to win. And they're kind of staring at each other as the ref raises their arms, and you can see them bickering back up the ramp, and the camera follows them backstage. And Jade is just like, what are you doing? I had that match won. Like, why are you trying to steal my pins? And Bianca's like, no, you're the reason we lost the titles. I don't want to lose any more matches. I'm just making sure our opponents are down and we get the wins we need to get our title shot back. And they go into their locker room, and the camera doesn't follow them, and it cuts out there.
Okay. A little bit more friction between them.
And this leads to our first backstage interview with the IFC. They're talking about, like, hey, you've been working together. How did you come up with the idea of becoming a faction? And Sheamus starts to answer, but that's when all of a sudden the family, Channing Lorenzo, Tony D'Angelo, and Luca Crucifino, just like wiped them out. They're throwing them into those storage cases back there. They're stomping them down. And while it's going on in the background, Tony D'Angelo looks in the camera and says, there's only room for one family in this locker room. And then we cut to break.
It's bold of them.
They're angry Italians.
It's bold of them to go after the faction that's been taking on the bloodline.
And then
good for them.
our tag team division in Raw has kind of been chaos. So Adam Pearce was just like, you know what? We're going to have a fatal 4-way tag match. Whoever wins gets a shot at Awesome Truth. So we have Pretty Deadly, New Catch Republic, The New Day, and the Creed Brothers. And it starts out pretty good. Standard match. They're tagging in and out. 2 people in the ring at a time. Elton Prince is in there for Pretty Deadly. And he's going at Tyler Bate. He takes Tyler Bate down. All of a sudden, he just walks over and like bitch slaps Pete Dunne, who's standing on the apron waiting to be tagged. And Elton Prince moves on, but Pete Dunne, just this anger comes over his face. He jumps off the apron. He goes and gets a kendo stick, slides into the ring, and just starts beating the shit out of Elton Prince with it. And Julius Creed is like, damn, this dude just cost us the match. There's a DQ. So Julius Creed missile drop kicks Pete Dunne from the top rope. And then Kofi sees this. He runs in and hits a Trouble in Paradise on Julius. And Kit Wilson was like, saw Elton get the shit beat out of him. So he grabs a chair and just starts hitting Tyler Bate. And then all the rest of the tag teams are just like, fuck it. And they start brawling. And again, security has to come running down. Pierce is down there like, enough. All of you are fined. If you keep fighting, the fine's going to get even bigger, and you're all going to be suspended, and you can say goodbye to that title match. And so we kind of cut to commercial. It's just chaos in the ring being broken up.
Adam Pearce, this division's too chaotic. Let's have a match and make it even worse.
Adam Pearce backstage. I need a drink.
Someone behind him. We're out of alcohol.
It comes back to commercial, and it's Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch talking backstage. And Becky's been kind of beat up by Nia and Tiffany last couple weeks, and she's a little sore, you can tell. She's talking to Lyra, where were you last week? I knew you were here, and then you did your promo, and Lyra apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry. I let the Money in Bank thing go to my head. I'm not going to cash in on you. I'm going to go to the other brand and go after Liv Morgan. But I'm here for you from now on. And it cuts back to a backstage interview with LA Knight, who's the Intercontinental title, and they're asking him about the contenders he has with AJ Styles and Santos and Sammy. LA Knight does his thing, says, I ain't worried about none of them. If they want it, they can come get it. I'll beat every single one of them, just like I have since I've won this title. And that's when you hear this like fighting in the background, and the cameraman kind of runs past LA Knight, and we see the debut of Jacob Fatu, who was just going at it with Tony D'Angelo, because he's like, you don't get to attack the IFC. Like, those are our guys. We're getting them. And Jacob Fatu sees LA Knight there, so he just attacks him and starts beating the shit out of him. And he looks into the camera and says, Bloodline is going to run this show, and we will have gold. That might even start with LA Knight.
If your bloodline ever breaks up, Jacob Fatu can just join the IFC and just be like, I like to fight too. Like, hey, you can't beat those guys up. I'm going to beat them up.
And so this cuts to Paul Heyman, who didn't know any of this was happening. And mouth open, he's kind of just looking at Solo in their locker room. And for a slight second, you kind of see Solo, a look of concern on his face, because he's like, wise man, I didn't tell him to do that. And so Paul Heyman's like, Solo, you need to get him under control. Do you know who you brought in? And Solo just gives him that Solo Sokoa stare. And it cuts back to the ring, and Seth Rollins' music drops, and the crowd is singing, they're dancing, Then we get Drew McIntyre. And to use a word of Sheamus, this match is a banger. They immediately just start brawling. They're over into the crowd. They're fighting through the aisles in there, up to backstage. I mean, they're throwing each other into cases. It's like a legit brawl. Um, I mean, they're hitting each other with whatever weapons they find back there. And eventually they kind of do this big loop where they come backstage fighting. And Drew kind of gets the edge on Seth, and he hits him with his finisher, that kick to just like take Seth down. But Drew doesn't go for the cover. He goes to the announcing table and just wipes everything out. And he picks Drew up and he power bombs him through it. And still doesn't go for the cover. He wants to put Seth away for sure. And so he drags Seth back into the ring. And as he's putting him in the ring, out of nowhere, through the crowd, Bobby Lashley just spears the hell out of Drew McIntyre. And then he's not done. He jumps on top, starts throwing rights. He gets the kendo stick. He's just beating the crap out of Drew McIntyre. He throws him back in the ring, and the ref is like, doesn't know what to do, so he starts counting them down. You know, Seth just got hit with a kick and went through the table, and Drew just got the hell beat out of him. And the ref counts to 10. Neither of them get up, and he's forced to stop the match. None of this has been decided yet. Drew and Seth still don't have a winner between them. And they cut to Bobby Lashley, who's just kind of out the ring, staring into the camera, and that's where the show ends.
I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Had a surprise for you.
Yeah, no, Bobby Lashley. Has he been on your show at all yet?
At the beginning.
Honestly, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Kind of kept him waiting in the weeds.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little return there.
I knew I wanted to use him in the championship picture. I just wasn't sure how to bring him in yet.
Yeah, that's fair. And, yeah, good for him.
Yeah. And with that being said, don't forget to like and follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. What else am I forgetting? We're on something else, aren't we?
Amazon.
That's the one.
Amazon, yeah. Before I get into social media, can I just say that at a live show, Drew McIntyre's pyro is so scary.
It is, yeah.
Because I had forgotten it the first time he came out when I saw him live, and we were up on the second level, like right in the front row before the balcony. And this pyro hit, I thought I was going to fall off of there.
I think all pyro is scarier in person.
Yeah, no.
It's so loud in there.
The Raw that I went to, I think Cody Rhodes came out 3 different times that night. So we were just getting his pyro. Like, he opened the show, he closed the show, he was like, afterwards they played his music in pyro again. It was just so much.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool because I love Cody, but oh my god, the amount of pyro they were hitting then.
A really old school show. It was when Kane was still around and he was the monster going after the Undertaker, and he used to have fire.
Yeah.
You could feel that heat through the arena. It was so hot.
Oh, I believe that. But yeah, no, that singular little burst of pyro from Drew McIntyre made me think I was just going to fall off the second level.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because we can still do the show now.
Yeah.
That's not the only reason. I like you too.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't think that's the way I want to go, honestly.
No, that'd be a bad way to go.
Yeah, no, I don't get second level tickets anymore because they get pretty scary. But yeah, no, that was our show. We'll be back again next week with another Smackdown and Raw for you guys, and we've got, just 2-3 weeks before we're doing our SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason in my head it felt like a longer break between PLEs, but I've got to start getting my matches written out. And
it's crazy how quick we're like already building up to the next WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, like we're already 13 episodes into this podcast. And
Yeah.
I am excited for SummerSlam because I've got a few different storylines that I had thought of when we first started this podcast that some of them are going to start paying off now. I've got a couple
Well,
different
I
things
can't
that I've
wait
been
to
building
hear
up
them.
to. Yeah, I've got to actually write them out, but some of you might be able to guess a couple of them. They're not super well hidden or surprise moments, but they're things that have been in my head since day one, basically. So I'm excited to get to that.
All right, send her home,
And
Steven.
alrighty, well, like Zach said, like, subscribe, follow, leave comments wherever you're listening. And then go ahead and feel free to follow us on any of our social media. If you can find one of us, you can find us both. On every major social media, you can just find me at Darkstar Shady. You follow me on Instagram, you can see a picture of the cake I bought for either Tom or Nick Mysterio beating their deadbeat dad. Um, TikTok, I've been a little less consistent on lately, but I've got a bunch of videos lined up that I can post whenever now for different trading cards I open up. Some gaming I've done on lives I can post some clips from. And hopefully in the next couple of months I can even start doing some YouTube or Twitch streaming for some video games. I'm thinking about making some WWE 2K24 streams.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe designing a little
buried
wrestling is
alive
fiction title
match.
belt.
Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan.
I'm thinking about making a little custom wrestling is fiction title belt and just doing some streams where I just throw random people into matches for it.
Very good.
But
I look forward to
hopefully,
that.
yeah, hopefully I'll start doing something like that, and we'll see you guys next week.